Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Other Beer. It's awesome to have you all here. Today, we're diving into something super interesting. We're going to be talking about the power of mindset. You know, we hear all the time mindset is everything, but how true is that really? And if it is true, how do we shift from, those negative thoughts to a more positive outlook? Especially when life gets kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Right? That's exactly what we're going to be unpacking today.
It's a great question, yeah. And I think it's super important to just start by saying, acknowledging that, negativity is a natural part of being human.
Yeah.
We're all wired with this negativity bias, right?
Nice
Our
spot.
brains are naturally inclined to focus on threats and potential dangers and all that.
Yeah, it's like our brains are still in caveman mode, constantly scanning for saber-toothed tigers, even though we're more likely to encounter traffic jams and deadlines these days.
Exactly. Yeah. And, back then that negativity bias was so essential for survival. But, in today's world, it can kind of lead to chronic stress and anxiety and just a general sense of pessimism.
Oh, for sure.
But the good news is that we can actually rewire our brains for positivity, but, it takes conscious effort and practice.
Okay, so how do we even begin to do that? Rewire those neural pathways for a more positive outlook.
Right.
Because it can't just be about slapping on a fake smile and pretending everything's perfect.
Right, yeah. It's not about ignoring the challenges or denying negative emotions. It's about recognizing those negative thought patterns and choosing to shift our perspective.
I see.
And a great first step is to become aware of your self-talk. Just pay attention to those automatic thoughts that just pop up throughout the day.
Right, like when you spill coffee on your shirt in the morning and instantly think, well, this is going to be a terrible day, or when you miss a deadline and just start beating yourself up I'm such a failure.
Yeah, those are perfect examples.
Yeah.
Those automatic negative thoughts, they often stem from, our negativity bias and can create a downward spiral of negativity.
Totally. So how do we stop that spiral before it takes over our entire day?
Yeah, the key is to catch those thoughts and then challenge how true they are.
Okay.
Ask yourself, is this thought really true, or is it just my negativity bias talking?
I love that. It's we're putting those negative thoughts on trial and forcing them to present evidence before we allow them to, take up space in our minds.
Exactly. Yeah. And once you've challenged the thought, you can start to replace it with a more positive one.
Okay.
And a more empowering one, right?
Right.
For instance, instead of I'm such a failure, you might say, okay, I messed up, but everyone makes mistakes. What can I learn from this experience?
Yeah, it's about shifting from a victim mentality to a more a growth mindset. Yeah. Seeing challenges as opportunities to learn and improve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And another really powerful technique is to use affirmations.
Okay.
These are positive statements that you just repeat to yourself regularly, and they can actually reprogram your subconscious mind for greater confidence and resilience.
Okay, so affirmations like those, I am strong, I am worthy kind of statements, do those really work?
They absolutely can. It might feel a little cheesy at first, but remember, your brain starts to believe what you repeatedly tell it. The key is to choose affirmations that really resonate with you and to say them with conviction.
So it's not just about mindlessly repeating words. It's about intentionally choosing empowering beliefs and reinforcing them through repetition.
Exactly. And another powerful practice for rewiring your brain for positivity is gratitude.
Okay.
Just take time each day to appreciate the good things in your life, no matter how big or small they are.
I've heard a lot about gratitude journals, but I have to admit, I've always been a bit skeptical. Does simply writing down things you're grateful for really make a difference?
It can be incredibly powerful, actually. Gratitude helps to shift your focus from what's lacking to what you already have.
Oh, I see.
It's like training your brain to scan for the positive instead of dwelling on the negative all the time.
So instead of focusing on what's going wrong, we're actively looking for what's going right. Like a mental treasure hunt for the good stuff.
Exactly. And the more you practice gratitude, the more you'll start to notice those little moments of joy and appreciation throughout your day.
Okay, so we've talked about challenging negative thoughts, using affirmations, and practicing gratitude. These all seem like great tools for cultivating a more positive mindset. But what about those times when life throws us a real curveball, like a job loss, a health scare, or a relationship breakdown? How do we stay positive when faced with real challenges and setbacks?
That's when the real work begins.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's okay to not feel positive all the time.
Right?
It's totally human to experience like a whole range of emotions, right? Including sadness, grief, and anger, especially when facing difficult situations.
Yeah, so it's not about denying those difficult emotions or trying to force ourselves to be happy when we're hurting.
Absolutely not. It's important to acknowledge and process those emotions.
Right.
But even in the midst of challenges, we can choose to focus on what we can control and look for those opportunities for growth and learning.
So it's about finding that silver lining, even when the clouds seem dark and stormy.
Exactly. And sometimes that silver lining might be as simple as finding the strength to get through the day, to take care of yourself, and to reach out for support.
Yeah, it's about acknowledging the difficulty of the situation while also choosing to believe that things will eventually get better.
Yeah. And a key part of navigating those tough times is cultivating resilience,
Okay.
which is the ability to bounce back from adversity, right?
Right. Resilience, it's like having that inner strength that helps us weather the storms of life, right? But how do we even build that resilience muscle? It can't be something we're just born with, can it?
It's definitely something we can develop through practice and the right mindset.
Yeah.
And one of the most important things we can do is to reframe challenges as opportunities for growth.
Reframing. What does that mean exactly?
It's about shifting our perspective from, why is this happening to me, to what can I learn from this experience?
So instead of seeing challenges as setbacks, we're viewing them as like stepping stones on our journey.
Precisely, yeah. Every challenge, no matter how difficult it is, holds a hidden lesson.
Okay.
And when you find that lesson, you turn pain into power.
I love that. It's like turning those lemons life throws at us into lemonade. Or maybe even a delicious lemon meringue pie.
Exactly. And when you approach challenges with that mindset, you'll be amazed at how much stronger and more resilient you become.
This is all so incredibly helpful. But I'm sure some of our listeners are thinking, okay, easier said than done. What advice would you give to someone who's in the thick of a challenging situation and struggling to find that silver lining, that sense of hope?
Yeah, one of the best things you can do in those moments is practice something I like to call the pause and breathe method.
Okay, so we're talking about literally taking a time out to breathe. How does that help?
When stress hits, your body goes into fight or flight mode,
Right.
making it really hard to think clearly or make, rational decisions.
Yeah.
Deep breathing is like a reset button for your nervous system. It helps to calm you down, both your mind and your body, and brings you back to a state of clarity and control.
Okay, so next time I'm feeling stressed or overwhelmed, I'm hitting the pause button and taking some deep breaths. I can do that. Any other tips for managing stress and maintaining a positive outlook during those challenging times?
Absolutely. Don't underestimate the power of movement.
Okay.
Physical activity is a natural stress reliever, and it boosts your mood.
So hitting the gym, going for a run, even just a brisk walk can help shift our energy.
Exactly. When you move your body, you release those pent-up stress hormones and boost those feel-good chemicals in your brain. Plus, exercise can be a great way to clear your head and get a fresh perspective on your problems.
It's like we're literally shaking off the negativity and making space for more positive energy to flow in.
That's a great way to put it. And you don't have to become a marathon runner to reap the benefits. Even small amounts of movement can make a big difference. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Walk around the block during your lunch break. Dance to your favorite music. Find what works for you and make it a part of your routine.
This is all so inspiring, but I think it's important to acknowledge that there will be days when we just feel like giving up. What advice would you give to someone who's facing a really tough situation and struggling to see the light at the end of the tunnel?
When you feel like that, it's essential to practice what I call one small step thinking.
Okay.
Instead of getting overwhelmed by the big picture, focus on taking just one small step forward.
So breaking down the challenge into manageable chunks, right? Instead of I have to climb this entire mountain, it's I'm just going to take the next step.
Exactly. Ask yourself, what is one thing I can do today to make things even slightly better?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a huge leap. Even a small step forward creates momentum and a sense of control, which can be incredibly empowering when you're feeling lost or discouraged.
I love that. It reminds me of that quote. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. It's about focusing on the process, not just the end goal.
Yeah. And remember, you've overcome challenges before and you can do it again. Sometimes we need a little reminder of our own strength and resilience.
This has been such an insightful conversation. But before we wrap up this part of our exploration of mindset, is there anything else our listeners should keep in mind as they embark on this journey of rewiring for positivity?
One thing that can be really helpful is to keep a reminder list of your strengths.
Okay.
Write down all the challenges you've overcome in the past, big or small. Think about the qualities and skills that helped you through those tough times.
So it's like a personal pep talk on paper, a reminder of all the amazing things we have going for us.
Exactly. And whenever self-doubt creeps in, you can look at that list and remind yourself of how capable and resilient you truly are. It's proof that you've handled tough times before and you can handle them again.
This is such a great idea. I think we all need a reminder of our inner strength sometimes. Well, listeners, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our exploration of mindset. From understanding the negativity bias to practical techniques for rewiring for positivity, we've given you plenty to ponder. But don't worry, we're not done yet. We'll be right back to explore even more strategies for creating a more positive and fulfilling life. Welcome back to The Other Mirror, everyone. I hope you're ready for more on how to cultivate a positive mindset, even when life throws those inevitable curveballs. You know, in the first part of our conversation, we talked about rewiring our brains for positivity by challenging those negative thoughts, using affirmations and practicing gratitude. But now I'm really curious to explore, how we can actually bounce back stronger from those tough times.
Yeah, that's a great question. It's fascinating how the most positive and successful people aren't necessarily the ones who've avoided challenges, right?
Yeah.
They're often the ones who've faced them head on, learned some really valuable lessons along the way, and then used those experiences to fuel their growth.
It's like that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But it's one thing to say it, it's another to actually live it.
Right.
How do we find that strength when we're in the middle of a really difficult situation?
One powerful approach is to shift your focus from the past to the future.
Okay.
Because, dwelling on what happened or what went wrong, that can keep you stuck in this cycle of negativity and regret.
Yeah.
Instead, try to just accept what happened, learn from it, and then direct your energy towards what you can create next.
So it's about acknowledging the past, but not letting it define us. It's about choosing to focus on the possibilities that lie ahead.
Exactly. And one technique that can help with this shift is to find the lesson in every hard moment.
Okay.
So instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Try asking, what can this teach me? How can I use this experience to grow?
I love that reframing. It's like turning a negative experience into a valuable learning opportunity, right? But I think sometimes the hardest part is actually letting go of the past and moving forward. We can get so caught up in replaying those painful events in our minds, holding on to grudges, or blaming ourselves for things we can't change.
It definitely takes a conscious effort to let go, but it's so worth it. Holding on to that resentment, anger, or regret, it only weighs you down and prevents you from fully embracing the present moment and moving forward with your life.
Yeah, for sure. So how do we actually do that? How do we let go of those negative emotions that can keep us stuck in the past?
There are many techniques out there, but one that I find really effective is visualization.
Okay.
So imagine that you're holding on to a heavy rock.
Okay.
And this rock represents those past hurts or grudges, whatever it is. Now picture yourself opening your hand and letting that rock just fall away.
Okay.
Visualize it sinking to the bottom of a deep ocean, never to weigh you down again.
That's such a powerful image. I can almost feel the sense of relief that comes with letting go of that burden.
Yeah, it's about releasing the weight of the past so that you can move forward with a lighter heart, a clearer mind, ready to embrace new experiences and opportunities.
So we've talked about reframing challenges, finding the lesson, and letting go of the past. What other strategies can help us bounce back stronger from difficult times? I imagine building resilience is a big part of that process.
You're absolutely right. Building that emotional resilience is crucial for navigating the ups and downs of life. It means developing the ability to cope with stress, adversity, and setbacks without losing your optimism or your sense of self.
Right? Resilience is like having that inner strength that helps you weather the storms of life, right?
Exactly. It's about being able to bend without breaking. And the good news is that resilience is like a muscle.
Okay.
The more you use it, the stronger it gets.
So how do we build that resilience muscle? What are some practical things we can do?
One key is to prioritize self-care. This includes things like getting enough sleep, eating nutritious foods, exercising regularly, and spending time doing activities that bring you joy and relaxation. It's about treating yourself with kindness and compassion, especially during times of stress.
Yeah, self-care isn't selfish, it's essential.
Absolutely. It's about replenishing your physical, mental, and emotional energy reserves so you have the strength and clarity to face challenges head on.
That makes sense. What other habits can help us build resilience? I imagine our social connections play a role as well.
You're spot on. Another important factor is building and nurturing strong social connections. Surround yourself with people who support you, uplift you, and make you feel good about yourself.
It's like having a cheerleading squad for life, right? A group of people who believe in you, encourage you, and help you pick yourself up when you fall.
Exactly. When you have a strong support system, you're better equipped to handle challenges and bounce back from setbacks. Knowing that you have people you can turn to for help, advice, or just a listening ear can make all the difference.
So it's not just about what we do for ourselves, but also about nurturing those positive relationships that give us strength and encouragement.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that asking for help when you need it is a sign of strength, not weakness. We all need support sometimes, and there's no shame in reaching out to others.
I think sometimes we forget that. We try to be strong and independent, but it's okay to lean on others when we're struggling. In fact, it's often essential for our well-being.
It's actually essential. Having a support system allows you to share your burdens, gain different perspectives, and receive the emotional support you need to get through tough times. We're wired for connection, and it plays such a crucial role in our well-being, especially during challenging times.
I'm really appreciating the emphasis on the power of connection and community. It's a reminder that we don't have to go through this journey alone. There are people who care about us and want to see us thrive.
Absolutely. We're wired for connection, and it's one of the greatest sources of strength and resilience we have. So nurture those relationships, reach out to others, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it.
So we've talked about building resilience through self-care, social connections, and not being afraid to ask for help. Any other tips for bouncing back stronger? I imagine perspective plays a big role in how we interpret and respond to challenges.
You're exactly right. One final thought I want to leave our listeners with is the power of perspective. Remember that every challenge, no matter how difficult, is temporary. It may feel like it will last forever in the moment, but it won't. Life is constantly changing, and this too shall pass.
So it's about remembering that this too shall pass, that even in the darkest of times, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. And when you look back on your life, you'll often find that the most challenging experiences were the ones that led to the greatest growth and transformation. They forced you to dig deep, discover your inner strength, and develop new skills and perspectives that ultimately made you a stronger and more resilient person.
It's like those moments that felt like the end of the world at the time. But in hindsight, they were actually the turning points that led to something even better.
Exactly. And sometimes it's not about avoiding the storm, but about learning how to dance in the rain.
Oh, I love that analogy.
Yeah, it's about finding joy and resilience, even amidst the challenges.
It's about remembering that even in the midst of a storm, there is beauty and grace to be found.
Absolutely. And remember, you are stronger than you think. You have the power to choose how you respond to adversity, and you can use those experiences to become even more resilient and create a life that is truly fulfilling.
This has been such an inspiring conversation. I feel like I've gained so many valuable insights into the power of mindset and the importance of building resilience. But before we wrap up this second part of our exploration, is there anything else you want to share with our listeners? Perhaps a final nugget of wisdom to help them on their journey.
One final tip that can be incredibly helpful when you're feeling overwhelmed is to create a reminder list of your strengths.
So it's kind of like that list of past challenges we talked about earlier, but this time we're focusing on our positive qualities.
Exactly. Take some time to reflect on your strengths, your talents, your accomplishments. Think about the qualities that make you unique and the skills you've developed over time. Write them down in a place where you can easily access them.
It's like creating a personalized pep talk, a reminder of all the amazing things we have going for us, right?
Yes, and whenever you feel discouraged or doubtful, you can refer to that list and remind yourself of how capable and resilient you truly are. It's proof that you have a lot to offer the world and that you've successfully navigated challenges in the past.
This is such a great idea. I think we all need a little boost of confidence sometimes, especially when we're facing a challenge.
Absolutely. And by acknowledging and celebrating your strengths, you'll not only feel more confident, but you'll also be more likely to approach challenges with a positive and can-do attitude.
This has been such a powerful conversation. We've covered so much ground, from rewiring for positivity to bouncing back stronger from life's challenges. But we're not quite done yet. We'll be back for one final segment where we'll explore practical tips and techniques for making positivity a permanent part of your life. So stay tuned. Welcome back to The Other Mirror, listeners. We're in the final stretch of our exploration of mindset, and I'm so excited to delve into the practical side of things. We've talked about rewiring for positivity and bouncing back stronger, but how do we actually make positivity a lasting part of our lives? It can't just be about wishful thinking, right?
You're so right. Positivity isn't just a feeling that magically appears. It's a choice we make.
Yeah.
And it's something we can cultivate through consistent effort and the right habits. Think of it like building a muscle. The more you work on it, the stronger it becomes.
Okay, so it's like a mental workout routine for positivity. I'm all for that. Where do we start?
One of the most powerful things you can do is create a morning mindset ritual. How you start your day really sets the tone for everything that follows.
So we're talking about more than just grabbing a coffee and scrolling through social media, Retta. I have to admit, that's usually how my mornings start.
Definitely, yeah. Instead of letting the day control you, take charge of your mindset right from the start.
Okay.
Incorporate practices that cultivate positivity and set you up for success.
Can you give some examples of what that might look like? I'm ready to upgrade my morning routine.
Absolutely. One simple but really effective practice is to start your day with gratitude. Just write down 3 things you're grateful for, big or small. It could be anything, like the warmth of your bed to a supportive friend, a delicious cup of coffee.
So it's like we're priming our brains to focus on the good right from the get-go, before we even step out of bed.
Exactly.
I love that.
And after gratitude, try incorporating some affirmations, those positive statements that you repeat to yourself, like, I am capable, I am strong, or I attract success.
Okay, I've heard a lot about affirmations, but do they really work? I have to admit, sometimes they feel a bit cheesy to me.
They can be incredibly powerful. Remember, your subconscious mind believes what you repeatedly tell it. So by saying affirmations with conviction, you're essentially reprogramming your mind for greater confidence and positivity. It's like planting seeds of positive beliefs that will grow and flourish throughout your day.
It's like planting seeds of positivity in our minds that will grow throughout the day. I love that analogy. So we've got gratitude, affirmations, and what else? Didn't you mention something about visualization earlier?
Right. To complete your morning ritual, you can even add a visualization practice.
Okay.
Close your eyes and imagine your day going exactly as you want it to. Visualize yourself achieving your goals, handling challenges with grace, and feeling happy and fulfilled.
So it's like creating a mental movie of our best possible day. We're directing and starring our own personal feel-good film.
Exactly. And the more vivid and detailed you make that visualization, the more likely you are to manifest it in reality. Your brain starts to believe what you repeatedly show it, and it begins to create neural pathways that support those positive outcomes.
I'm already feeling more positive just thinking about it. So we've got gratitude, affirmations, and visualization. That's a pretty powerful morning routine for positivity. What else can we do throughout the day to maintain that positive momentum? Because, let's face it, life has a way of throwing us curveballs, even on days when we start off feeling great.
You're absolutely right. Maintaining a positive mindset requires ongoing effort and attention. One simple but effective strategy is to just be mindful of your self-talk throughout the day. Just pay attention to those negative thoughts that creep in and challenge them.
Yeah.
Replace them with more positive and empowering thoughts.
It's like we're becoming our own inner cheerleader, right? Instead of letting those negative thoughts bring us down, we're pumping ourselves up with positive affirmations and encouraging self-talk.
Exactly. And it's not about denying the challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on solutions, possibilities, and the good that already exists, even in the midst of difficult situations.
So it's about shifting our perspective from woe is me to I've got this. It's about choosing to believe in our ability to overcome challenges and create a better future for ourselves.
Yeah. And remember, you have the power to choose your thoughts. It takes practice, but the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You can train your brain to automatically scan for the positive and to reframe challenges in a more empowering way.
It's like we're training our brains to be more optimistic, like building those mental muscles we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But let's be real, there will be days when negativity creeps in no matter how hard we try to stay positive.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone who's feeling overwhelmed by negativity and struggling to stay positive?
In those moments, it's so crucial to have like a toolkit of stress management techniques that you can rely on. These are practices that help to calm your nervous system, shift your perspective, and just restore a sense of peace and well-being.
Like what kind of techniques? Can you give us a few examples?
Well, we've already talked about the power of deep breathing.
Right.
When stress hits, just take a few moments to pause and take some slow, deep breaths. This simple act can work wonders. It helps to slow your heart rate, calm your nervous system, and bring you back to a state of balance.
Okay, so deep breathing is definitely going on my list of positivity tools. It's amazing how such a simple practice can have such a profound impact on our state of mind.
It really is. And in addition to breathing, physical movement can be incredibly effective for releasing stress and boosting your mood. When you move your body, you release endorphins, which have mood-boosting effects. Plus, exercise can be a great way to clear your head and get a fresh perspective on your problems.
So hitting the gym, going for a walk, dancing it out, all of these can help to shift our energy and lift our spirits.
Exactly. Even a short burst of movement can make a difference. Find an activity you enjoy and make it a regular part of your routine.
I'm sensing a theme here. Movement, whether it's physical or mental, seems to be key to shifting our energy and fostering a more positive outlook. It's about getting unstuck from those negative thought patterns and creating positive momentum in our lives.
Absolutely. It's about creating a positive momentum both internally and externally. And speaking of external factors, don't underestimate the power of your environment and the people you surround yourself with.
So we're talking about curating our social circles and being mindful of the information we consume.
Exactly. Surround yourself with positive, supportive people who uplift you and inspire you. Limit your exposure to negative news and social media. It's about creating a positive ecosystem for your mind to thrive in.
Just like plants need the right soil, sunlight, and water to flourish, our minds need a supportive environment to cultivate positivity and resilience.
Yes. And it's not about isolating yourself from the world or pretending that challenges don't exist. It's about being selective with the influences you allow into your life and creating a space where positivity and growth can flourish.
This is all such valuable advice. I feel like I'm walking away from this conversation with a whole toolkit of strategies for cultivating a more positive and resilient mindset. But before we wrap up this final part of our exploration of mindset, is there one key takeaway you want to leave our listeners with? Something they can carry with them as they continue on their journey?
If there's one thing I want you to remember from our conversation today, it's this. Happiness and positivity are choices, not just feelings. You have the power to choose your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your experience of life.
So it's not about waiting for happiness to magically appear. It's about actively creating it. It's about taking responsibility for our own well-being and making choices that support a more positive and fulfilling life.
Exactly, and it starts with cultivating a positive mindset. It takes effort and practice, but the rewards are huge. When you choose positivity, you open yourself up to a life filled with joy, resilience, and fulfillment.
This has been such an insightful and inspiring journey into the world of mindset. I feel like I've gained so many practical tools and strategies to create a more positive and fulfilling life, and I hope our listeners feel the same way.
And remember, listeners, it's not about being positive all the time. That's unrealistic and, frankly, not even desirable. It's about cultivating a mindset that helps you navigate the ups and downs of life with grace, resilience, and a sense of hope.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Other Mirror. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration of the power of mindset, and we encourage you to put these insights into practice. Remember, you have the power to create a more positive and fulfilling life, one thought, one choice, one action at a time. And until next time, keep reflecting on the other side of the mirror.